Hello friends, today we are going to continue chapter number 8, Framing of Constitution and its features, lecture number 15. Friends, in this chapter we have discussed about the meaning of Constitution, why this Constitution is important. We discussed about the framing of Constitution of India, that how our Constitution of India was framed. What was the basic reasons behind framing this Constitution? We discussed about the preamble, we discussed about the democratic country, we discussed about secular state, socialist state, and we discussed about the basic features of our constitutions. Friends, when we were discussing about the meaning of Constitution, we learned that a collection of rules or laws that are made for the welfare of the country, to govern and regime of the country, is considered as the Constitution. Friends, the Constitution of each and every country can be different. It is said that our Constitution of India, is the largest written document of India. Friends, when we talk about our Constitution, it is said that our Constitution is a live document. Amendments can be made as per the expectation, as per the aspiration and the wishes of the people. Friends, we also discussed about the framing of Indian Constitution, that when Britishers decided to give India independence, they had sent the cabinet mission to India to discuss and plan about the Indian independence. And as per the report submitted by this cabinet mission, they suggested to make a constituent assembly to frame the Constitution of India. And as per the recommendation of this cabinet mission, the Constituent Assembly was framed to make the Constitution of India. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was made the president of this Constituent Assembly. Many well-known and expert leaders like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, Krishna Swamy Iyer, female leaders like Sarojini Naidu, Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit, such of them gave their efforts and gave their contribution in framing our Constitution. A thread-based discussion about each and every aspect that is related to our Constitution was discussed. A drafting committee was framed to draft the Constitution of India under the chairmanship of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Friends, members from various geographical diversities, various sectors, various fields were included in this drafting committee. And at last, with these valuable efforts of these peoples, on 26 January 1950, we Indians got our Constitution. Our Constitution came into force. Our Constitution was implemented on us on 26 January 1950. And it is due to that reason, every year, we Indians celebrate 26 January as our Republic Day, as our national festival. We also discussed about the preamble, that what is the importance of preamble. Preamble is the introduction of the Constitution. It says it guides the government, it guides about the misinterpretation in the Constitution. It shows the aims and objective of the Constitution. It shows the reason behind framing any kind of law that is included in the Constitution of India. It works like a compass to show the direction towards our Constitution. And that is why preamble is considered as the soul of our constitution. We have already learned that up to 1976, no changes were made in it. But after that, some words like socialist, secular, unity in diversity were added in it. Friends, we discussed about a democratic country. What is democratic country? We understood that the word democracy came from a Greek word, demos, that means people, and kratos means power. That means in a democratic country, the ultimate power lies in the hand of the people. The people elects the head of the country. It is in the hand of the people to remove the head of the country. That means the ultimate power of the country lies in the hand of the people. The democracy means of the people, by the people and for the people. Here the people cast their votes without any discrimination to elect their leaders, which becomes the members of the parliament. They become the representative of the people and work for the welfare of the country. Here, if the person is constitutionally eligible, he can contest the election as well. Each and every people in a democratic country is treated equally in the eye of law. There is no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, religion. No discrimination is seen. Friends, we also discussed about a socialist country in which the overall development of the people in each and every field, socially, economically, politically, each and every field is seen. People are treated equally in all the fields. We discussed about a secular state in which we learned that India can never be considered a country of any one particular religion, but instead it is a country of each and every religion. We believe in unity in diversity. Though having lots of diversities in religion, we all live unitedly in our country. And that is the main feature of our country. We celebrate the festivals of each other. We friendly live with each other. We come in need whenever we are in require of any need. Friends, in a secular country, there is no discrimination on the basis of religion. Each and every people are treated equally. Friends, after that, we started discussing about the basic features of the Constitution, in which we discussed about the written document, in which we learned that except England and Israel, like other country, we also have our Constitution in the written form, in which the changes are possible. We can make the changes. We discussed about the size of the Constitution, in which we discussed that our Constitution has 395 articles in it with 9 appendices, which are now 12. We discussed about the single citizenship, that in India we do not have dual citizenship like America, of the state citizen and the country citizen. In India, we have only one citizenship. We do not identify any people with its statehood. Each and every person, each and every citizen of India is considered as an Indian. And which is very important to increase the nationalism in India. Friends, we discussed about the federal structure, strong federal structure, in which we have several elements of federal government in our country. Like we have the state government as well as central government, but still India is considered as the union of state. No state can deny that we are not a part of India. So friends, we discussed about lots of such features unified arrangement during crisis, in which we understood that President can declare three emergencies: national emergency, constitutional emergency, as well as the financial emergency whenever necessary for the welfare of the country. We discussed about independent and impartial judiciary, in which we understood that in our constitution each and every judiciary, which is the third organ of our government, is kept independent from the executive and legislature. It is totally impartial with each and every citizen of India. We discussed about the other features like universal adult franchise, in which we learned that each and every citizen of India who is of the age of 18 or above 18 has the right to vote without any discrimination of caste, creed and religion. Only his name should have been registered in the electoral list. So friends, we have learned about several something. In the previous lecture, we discussed about the judicial review and the fundamental rights and duties as the basic features. Friends, today we are going to learn about the another basic feature, that is directive principle of state policy. Directive principle of state policy. Let us understand about the directive principle of state policy. The directive principles are the directions. The directive principles are the directions given by the Constitution to the Union, and it is given to the Union and the state government to adopt. It is given to state government to adopt proper policies, for establishing a better country. What are the directive principles? Here it is said, directive principles are the directions that are given by the Constitution to the state and the central government. They are giving the directions, they are giving suggestions to the central government and the state government that how the welfare of the country is possible, how we can make a better country. And for that, whatever suggestions and directions are given by the Constitution to the government, that are known as the directive principle of state policies. The principles say that the state, if we talk about this principle, it say that the state should protect its people. The principle says that the state should protect its people, provide them security, and welfare. According to this directive principle, it says that the state means it is talking about the government. The principle says that the state should protect its people, means the protection of people is at the frontier. The principle states that the state should protect its people, they should provide them proper security, and the welfare of the people should always be the primary concern of the government. So friends, this was the information about the directive principle of state policy. Let us understand another feature of the Constitution, that is the provision for backward section. the provision for backward section and tribes, the last basic feature of our constitution. Now friends, the last feature, the provisions for backward sections and tribes. Friends, the last section, the last basic feature, provisions for backward sections and tribes. Let us understand the last feature, basic feature of the constitution about the provisions. The constitution has provided certain basic, the constitution has provided certain basic specific provisions, has provided specific provisions to uplift and include, backward section and tribes, to uplift and include backward section and tribes, and bring them, and also to bring them in the mainstream. Friends, here the constitution has provided certain provisions, certain benefits for the people who are considered as backward, who are financially backward, socially backward, and for that, to uplift them, to bring them up, government has made certain provisions for them so that they can bring these backward section people, these backward tribes, so that they can uplift them and bring them in the mainstream of the development of the country. Then discussions are held for providing, discussions are also held for providing reservations. Discussions are also held for providing reservations for backward section and tribes, to provide reservations for this backward section and tribes in the politics also. In the politics. Friends, here it is said, even discussions are held for providing reservation in the politics also for these backward section people, so that they can also stand in the election, they can enter the parliament as well. So reservations are, some seats are reserved for the people of this backward section and these backward tribes. These people, means the backward section and tribes, are provided seats that are reserved, are provided the seats that are reserved for them in legislature and local self government and local self governance. Friends, here it is said even these people are provided special seats, means that seats are reserved in the parliament also, as well as the local self governance body or whichever, like municipalities, gram panchayat, taluka panchayat. These backward section people, these backward tribes people have some seats reserved for them so that they can make their development. And friends, reservation quota has also been provided. Reservation quota has also been provided in the fields of education, in the field of education and employment. Even reservation quota has been given to such kind of backward class people and backward tribe people in education field as well as in employment. If they want any kind of job, government job, special reservations are there for such kind of backward tribes and backward section people. Children of backward class and tribes, children of these backward class and tribes are also given scholarship. Are also given scholarship. They are also given scholarship. So friends, here certain facilities are being given to the children of this backward section and these backward tribes people to uplift them for the welfare of the country so that they can come in the mainstream of the people. So friends, you might have understood about all the basic features of our constitution up to now. We have understood all the basic features in small slots so that you might understand it properly. So here we have completed the basic features of the constitution. We will continue the next topic of this chapter in our next lecture. Thank you.